apologize that the lighting isn't very good, but we're just gonna work with it for now. It's getting dark out, so I have to use this like light, and it doesn't work that well. Anyway, so this is my first video on this channel, and what I kind of wanted to use this channel for is to give me a platform to read my poetry out loud, mostly, because like even though I published a book, like I continue to write stuff and I want to be able to share it, and then secondly to help kind of promote and get the word out about my book, and then third just for, you know, talking about whatever I want or doing whatever I want as that progresses, if that makes sense. So for my first video, since I don't have any like poetry 100% picked out that I want to actually fully share that I'm super confident about at the moment, I just wanted to talk about the book. So if you don't already know, I self-published this poetry and prose book over the summer. It's a softcover book, and I did it through Amazon CreateSpace. So it's for sale on Amazon, and you can find it on my website, which is just like sophiagamble.com. If you just search up the name of my book, Dancing in the Hurricane, and my name, I'm sure it will show up. Yeah, so it's being sold on Amazon right now, and then like on Amazon Kindle. And that's the only place at the moment. I'm really trying to work on, I'll have to sneeze. Getting it put out into actual bookstores. I've made a few connections, but nothing has really panned out yet, unfortunately. But I mean, that's just the process everyone has to go through. So at the moment it is only being sold on Amazon, but hopefully that will change soon. But either way, this book was not really like a business endeavor or like a career endeavor because I'm 18. It really was just kind of like a passion project. I had a lot of poems I had written over the years in high school, about like several things that I had gone through. And so this was kind of just like the culmination of that. And since I just graduated high school, it felt like a really like healing thing for me, but also just like a good time to finally compile everything and put it out into the world. So a little bit about my actual book. It is called Dancing in the Hurricane. It just is a collection of poetry and prose by Sophia Gamble. It's kind of like a gray blue color. I don't know, I really like the color. It reminds me of a hurricane a lot. I don't know how well the lighting shows the actual color, and I feel like it looks really blue, but it's not. It's more gray. Yeah, it's just a soft cover book, and there's a little image of a hurricane that I drew here. It's a matte finish, which I really like, and I don't know, I think it looks really sleek. And then I'll just read you what is on the back. So the book, I guess, is about an innate and honest reflection of what it means to be human, what it means to have and to feel life. Carefully crafted to mimic things we have all experienced, this book is made of snippets from my life, the lives of others, and imaginary tales. These pieces tell of loss, confusion, fear, but also of hope, love, and happiness. Because while life is a hurricane, eventually we all learn to dance. And so this book is formatted in a way that shows, you know, how we as humans go through struggles, have remissions, and eventually heal. And so it's in 5 different sections. So the first section is wind, the second is tempest, third is the eye, fourth is hurricane, and then fifth is learning to dance. And so I really wanted to format this kind of how we all live life. Sorry if I don't know if I am articulating this very well. I should be able to articulate this well because I wrote it. So the first section, I'll read you the introduction. So each section begins with the title page and then a small piece of poetry to introduce the section and the themes of the section, and then is followed by all of the poetry in that section, and then of course go on to the next section. So the first section, wind, tries to mimic the onset of a struggle, how you can like realize things are coming your way but you don't know how to fix it, or you don't want to fix it, and you're sort of anticipating a hurricane, you know, metaphors. I'm so sorry, I don't know why I just did that. Yeah, and this book does have some tags in it, by the way, because like this is the one that like I have. Anyway, so That is the first one. And then this next one, which is Tempest, is supposed to kind of represent like a struggle has like occurred, you're dealing with it face on, you're kind of dealing with that first blow of the struggle. You knew it was coming, now it's here, how do you adapt to it? And then the third section, which is the eye, boop, 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 I'll show you in a second, right here. This is the eye of the hurricane. There's a moment of calm. You think you might have made your way through the struggle, or maybe you know you didn't, but it's a moment where you can find peace and just be like, okay, I've made some progress, and sometimes it's not a good place to be because you think it's over, maybe it's not over. This is really, the thing about this book is I wrote a lot about that came from me personally. Like, I wrote a lot of feelings that were coming from me personally during this time, going through different struggles, but I really like tried to include several different themes in it because I wanted it to be relatable for everybody. And so there's themes really that every single person can relate to, and most of my poetry in this book can really be applied to almost anyone's situation with anything. And so this book really isn't about my problems, it's about everybody's problems. And it's something like, I want someone to be able to read this and feel understood and loved and comfortable with their problems, because it's like I truly feel that this book really mimics like any single person's struggle that you could ever have, and kind of that terrible button cycle of going through things and, you know, making progress and taking a step back and then making more progress, and finally eventually you hope that you heal and learn to dance in this hurricane that you're going through. And so that's something I want to put out there, is that this isn't about me. It came from me, and I wrote a lot of it based on my own struggles, but I also really tried to put, you know, other people's input in there. Not that I necessarily like took direct ideas from people, but just I really tried to open up some of the themes. Of course, there are a few poems that are very, very personal, but I just hope that anybody who reads the book can feel understood and find something that they can relate to in it. You know, either they will read this and feel better, they will feel understood, or they will read it and they will learn something and be able to understand people better. And it's that forming that connection between people is what I really wanted to do with this, and giving people a place to come to know that they are not alone with their struggles. Yeah, anyway, so let's get back on track. The fourth section in here is hurricane. So this is part of the title of the book, Dancing in the Hurricane. So after the eye, after the calm, this is the onset of either the next struggle or a relapse of the same struggle, because unlike a lot of people think, healing is not a single step process. You don't heal and then you're done. You heal and then something comes up, something triggers something, or, you know, you get thrown into another issue. It's not easy. It's not like a once and done thing. And so that's something I really wanted to mimic. And, you know, this section kind of hurts worse than the first, because it's like you thought you were over it. Like, you know, you can handle one blow, but by the time the second blow comes, it's sometimes too much. And then the fifth and final section is learning to dance, which again goes to the title. And so this just mimics someone, you know, finally finding that peace, finally healing, getting through a struggle, because they really put in the effort to push themselves to do so, and just showing that, like, healing isn't an easy or quick process, and it takes a while. And so that's what this book is really about. Yeah, I'm sorry if a lot of what I'm saying isn't making a lot of sense. I tend to do well with written word rather than trying to project my thoughts onto other people. Anyway, yeah, this is my book. You can find it on Amazon, as I already said. You can find it on my website, which should be linked in this YouTube channel. Yeah, so I know I didn't do a ton in this video, but I plan on reading a bunch of poetry soon. I also plan on reading a few excerpts from this. Obviously, I don't want to like read all of them or most of them because like I really want people to read this book as a whole, because I intentionally put these words and these poems and these phrases and sections in order to create a story, so I don't want to just like read them, but I will read some of them to kind of give you guys a taste of what's in it. Yeah, so honestly that's kind of it. I don't really know what I'm doing with this, but I really wanted to like give myself a platform to talk about poetry and things that I love, and I thought since I don't have anything super prepared, I might as well start with talking about my book. Yeah, and one thing I do want to say is that I spent so much time on this, like so much time, and I edited it, like I went through it, like I tore this book apart, like trying to make it perfect, and I thought it was perfect, and as I look at it, I have found 2 or 3 minor spelling errors. It really annoys me because like spelling and grammar errors, because like I really I tore through this book, and it's one of those things where it's like you kind of miss it eventually because you've looked at it so many times, and I really thought about redoing it, getting it reprinted, and then I was like, I'm not gonna do that. Because like that's another thing, like I feel like this book is really personal and it comes from a place of imperfection, and not that you want to sit there and have everything wrong with it, but a few spelling errors I think almost shows its personality, and I hope that it comes off as endearing and not just lazy. That's all I have to say about it, just in case like anyone notices the spelling errors. I'm aware of them, but this is not, hopefully it will be one day, but at this point this is not my career. This has been a passion project for me, and so the fact that there's a few little mistakes with it, I have learned to compartmentalize that and just throw it in the back of my brain, because it doesn't really matter. The words are still completely readable, and it's only a few small mistakes, and I feel that, you know, everyone makes mistakes, and hopefully those mistakes come off as making me seem more personable. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope that made sense, but anyway, that's all I have to say at the moment. But subscribe please, so that you can hopefully see when I upload poetry videos, because I have a bunch of stuff written that I really want to share. And I will publish more things at some point, but just right now, like being in college, adjusting to college and stuff like that, and after like I literally like I just did this over the summer, I'm not really in the wheelhouse to start putting together something else to put out into the world at this point. I'm still trying to get this thing like out in the world, because right now it's just kind of been a small amount of people who know about it, and that's totally fine. I'm not trying to become like famous off this, but I'm still really focused on promoting this little baby here. So for now, I will just share poetry on my channel and hopefully eventually publish that stuff. Yeah, okay. This was a really long and rambling video, so thank you if you made it to the end. If you didn't make it to the end, I understand. Thank you for even clicking on it. I will upload things very, very soon, I promise. I have a lot of time over break and a lot of things that I want